At its core, it's role-playing. It's like acting, you know, you create a character, you take on a new persona of this heroic character, or sometimes villainous character, depending on which way you want to go, and you know, you're basically playing a superhero. But you can't just do anything you want, so, you know, because then what's the fun in that? So there are these rules in place to make it a challenge for you to do what you want, even though you have all these amazing abilities and powers and whatnot.
From there, the player goes through the world making their own story as they go through.
It's an open-ended role-playing game, and at the same time, a form of collaborative storytelling.
Dice, a lot of people do say it's fate, but fate isn't something that the dice represent. The dice represent randomness. Fate is what causes an end. Fate is something that is predestined. Say, to beat off the big bad evil guy, they are destined to beat him, so it would be fate for them to beat him. Whereas the dice can take it away. Fate is the story, dice is randomness.
You can be wandering through the forest and there's a troll and you swing but it's too low and you miss, versus the person rolls high enough and they swing and they're going to hit them. Because the dice have a certain effect of randomness because it determines the amount of damage you do, some random magical effects, but also just basic hits or misses. It doesn't have to be with combat, because it can be with just talking to NPCs and making a persuasion check or making a constitution saving throw as to not fall drunk in a drinking game in a tavern.
And whether a character's plan or an NPC's plan succeeds or fails, oftentimes creates two divergent paths in the story.
Most of the time when I'm DMing, I don't even plan stuff out. I have a basic idea for what's gonna happen, and then I'll just have what's gonna happen at the end lead from their actions. Or if they do something cool and I like it, I'll just adapt with it and come up with some new type of story for them to follow.
I have to put in a lot of prep time, and I probably spent, like for Heroes and Halfwits, you know, I probably spent, God, easily 24 hours for every episode that we recorded just in preparation. I mean, and I'm sure it's even more than that, because I would sit down and just write the adventure first of all, and then think of all the different nuances to that world, like with
this town has these quests, this one has these quests, they interact in this way.
Dot towns around where towns logically be in river intersections.
what does the city look like, what kind of people are in it,
Mountain folk live here.
how is the society structured.
What do I want to happen in this world?
Continuity can be an issue, but my story is so basic because it's so new. There's no problem. It's really just they went to Amon, and my players are quick to point out when I have continuity issues. And if something does happen, I'll either write it off as, oh, this happens instead, or I'll go back in time and fix it with them.
Continuity of mechanical value, for example, a player's weapons, a player's monetary assets, things that transfer over into different sessions, yes, that has to be maintained at all times, but continuity of personality generally does as well, but continuity of situation, no, not at all. Things change, they flow, mountains and valleys, so to speak.
What's a good story reason that he would have changed what he told them? Oh, maybe he was lying. Maybe he's actually like not their, you know, their guide. Maybe he's trying to mess them up somehow because he wants to, you know, take advantage of them in some way. And so, so that's how I kind of like try to adapt it for the story. But basically, to start off because I made a mistake. But sometimes those mistakes will really create interesting paths for the players to follow. You know, it'll create like twists in the story that I didn't even expect, much less for the players to expect. So, I don't know, I guess it's kind of like the whole Bob Roberts thing about like, you know, we don't make mistakes, we only have happy accidents.
Well, that's a philosophical question at heart. Obviously, it's a game. And obviously the stakes are not real-world stakes, thank God. Otherwise, we'd be a lot more people going out with missing arms and limbs and half-burned bodies. Hey, what happened? Oh, you know, I ran into a red dragon. I'm gonna have to go to physical therapy for weeks to get this off. Also, I have no legs. Yeah, that doesn't happen, luckily. But I really think there is a real psychological need that is being filled with Dungeons & Dragons. It's the same reason why we listen to stories, you know, why we have folk tales, and even to a large part why we have religion. It's the want to believe. It's the want to rationalize and explain things that we find in our everyday life through another medium, whether that be through the eyes of Hercules or, I don't know, Thanax the Barbarian or whoever you create. It's about storytelling, and storytelling is probably the most human thing imaginable.
Just for purely selfish reasons, it's a way for me to create something that didn't exist before and then have other people enjoy whatever I created. So I imagine it must be like how it feels if you're a chef and you want to create like the perfect cake or the perfect souffle or whatever it is, and then it's not just enough to make it and then bring it out of the oven, right? Like you want other people to enjoy that and eat it and say like, this is delicious.
Just being able to do what you can't normally, being smarter than you normally are, being stronger than you normally are, wiser, more charismatic.
I met my dad when I was in like 6th grade, like towards the end of the year. And that was D&D was the way I ended up talking to my dad more, and that's how we actually connected more. So it's kind of important to me because of that relationship with my dad. That, and it's just fun. So I would say it's more than just a game, because it connects people and helps to enrich those connections with each other.
And then you have fun with that.